I'm just going to ask a few questions. Like I told D'Angelo, I'm more of a Tea Party guy. Man, I just wanted to know a few things as to whether we converge or diverge. Um, First question was, do you oppose Barack Obama, or partially, or not at all?
Oh gosh, at this point I'm partially opposed. I'm opposed to a lot of things about the issue of having a president at this point, considering that every single one that we've had in the past few decades it's really been a fiasco of lies and not truth telling, and I'm over it.
I hear you. I got a lot of complaints about all of them from the past
Yeah.
couple decades. Um, Excuse me. Do you oppose capitalism?
At this point, yeah, I do.
Okay. Okay.
It's a system built. Capitalism promotes money making so much to the point that it steps over your fellow man, and I can't do it anymore. I think there has to be another system that not only supports wealth but supports ethics as well, and I don't see that in capitalism.
Well, where's the wealth going to come from if people aren't providing business and services and products and things like that? Where would that wealth come from?
We could think of different things. We're Americans. We've been doing this since the beginning of our country. We can think of something. People could go green, make all kinds of different businesses pop up almost seemingly out of nowhere. So wealth is there. The earth is rich.
Well, isn't that capitalism, though? Isn't that capitalism? Although, I would agree. I would probably agree with you that it should be following the golden rule. People should be ethically engaging in capitalism. I'm totally about following the law and fair ethics and all that.
I would see it more
do you have
as
a problem with?
transformation of it, maybe an evolution. You see what I mean?
Well, a positive change, that'd be good.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
do you have a problem with ethical capitalism, where people follow the rules, they don't screw each other over, it's all based on agreement between parties, I'll give you this money, you give me that hamburger, or things like that, I'll give you X amount of money for this house, and they agree on it, they shake hands, everybody's happy. Do you have a problem with that sort of exchange?
No, I don't have a problem with that exchange. I have a problem with.
Okay. That's capitalism.
I have a problem with the investors losing $700 million to, who was it, Bank of America? And then they're getting $160 million and then wanting to pay $285 to the SEC to make it go away.
I would probably totally agree with you that crony capitalism is bad, and there's big banks guilty of much of that. Federal Reserve is terrible. Would you agree that they should be dissolved?
When it comes to the issue of the Federal Reserve, I personally want to do some more research before I open my mouth and say something about that.
I respect that. That's cool. But there's a lot of those big banks that pulled strings. I totally disagree with crony capitalism, but I think the ones that focus on is the people making the rules, Congress and the president, who have allowed that to continue, and they've participated in it. For example, Barack Obama got more money from Goldman Sachs than anybody. He's swimming in banker money, so. I think the folks that make the rules ought to be pressured to change that and make it so they can't do insider trading. Did you hear about Nancy Pelosi making like $800,000 off of Visa IPO that she had insider information on?
Not yet. Please tell.
Oh man, this guy named Peter Schweitzer just came out with a book called "Throw Them All Out," where he documents all sorts of Congress folks rushing out as soon as they know some inside information as to how they're voting or whatever, how the vote's going to go, and getting right on the phone, making stock purchases, option purchases, going short, etc., making all kinds of quick calls and making big money off of it before the normal people can get a chance to even get the information. And one congressman he made a bill to make it illegal. He couldn't even get 5 co-sponsors on that bill. He went around trying to get all the other representatives and senators to co-sponsor it. They wouldn't join on board with that. And to me, that is a very soft spot that we got to close up, because I thought that was illegal until this book came out. This book just came out a few months ago. Peter Schweitzer, Throw Them All Out. And he documents Nancy Pelosi and a host of other Congress people getting rich off insider trading, stuff that should be illegal. I think they should have, if they want to invest, it should be in a blind trust, so they can't use that insider information or maybe in treasury bonds, so that they have a disincentive to loot the treasury, and they have to make sure we're all taken care of, so the whole country grows all together, a rising tide that lifts us all up. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Cool. Right on. The bailouts. Did you agree with the bailouts of the big banks?
At the time,
I thought that was horrendous.
I remember the bailout started. I was like 22 years old, and I lived on Maui. And at the time, I was just trying to work, and I figured, maybe that's a good idea. I did, and then as I started to watch the news more, I missed the whole part about the banks. What got me angry was the bailing out the automobile industry. I felt like the automobile industry got what was coming to it. GM and Chrysler had years and decades to catch up to Toyota and Honda when it comes to issues of ultra-low vehicle emissions, the availability of hybrids, good gas mileage altogether.
Go to school!
Good gas mileage altogether, reliable cars. I thought, how unfair is that? I was working very hard too, that knowing that my tax dollars are going to go into a company that didn't think enough of me to give my GMC Jimmy a solid transmission.
I hear you. A lot of those guys had the plushest union jobs imaginable, way more than the folks in Japan were making, and yet it wasn't enough. They had to get bailed out too.
From that, I delved into like the issue with the banks, and I saw the same thing. Like, they did a lot of shady deals. They went into business against their customers while smiling in their faces. I mean, just it's all out thievery.
It's crony capitalism.
Yeah, and that's like the only reason that these people
deals.
aren't in jail is because they have the money to stay out of jail. And then that brings up a whole nother issue. And so I've been telling people that basically it all funnels into, and I think it includes the Tea Party as well as the Occupy group, that we are all sick and tired of this system. The system that we are all accustomed to does not have our best interests at heart. And it never has, and it never will. We are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying, bro. That's we have a lot in common. I think back in go back far enough that things were simple. They weren't overregulated. They weren't overtaxed. Pretty much, you could, if you had business deals you wanted to do with people around you, the government didn't interfere. They didn't even collect